All right, you guys can see it good? Okay,
Yes.
so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ryan Montoya, and with me is Damian Loya. And today we're going to be discussing our Mechatronics project, the Quadcopter Tether. So giving a brief overview of the project, our simulation utilizes the Pioneer P3DX robot, one that we've used in the previous labs. It's the two-wheeled robot with the ultrasonic sensors, as well as the Copellia Quadcopter. This can be found in the Coppelia simulation under the mobile robots. And so what we were to do was to place the quadcopter in free flight. This would be tethered to the P3DX robot using a real-time tether that would react to the, like, as if it were a real tether, reacting to the physics. So our end goal was to be able to compensate the tension or the tautness in that tether with the robot movement. So we'll explain it later on. So the motivation behind our project, why do we care about this? Well, most of the drones that we're used to are controlled through a man-held controller and a GPS. So this means that the drone uses human input and a secure GPS connection to determine its location and position. This is fine for a lot of the cases, but in the circumstances that the drone can't make a GPS connection, maybe it was fully functioned through a GPS connection, so no human input. And also maybe the human who's operating the drone can't see where the drone is. So there's no way of determining where it's at on a global plane. So this is where the tethered drone comes into play. Tethered drones don't need as much human input or even a connection to operate. And this is because the drone is programmed to know that it can only be within the limits of its tether. So its maximum would be the full length of the tether and with no minimum besides the anchor point and whatever's underneath the anchor. So such as like a surface. So another way to imagine this would be to imagine a pin needle. The sharp point would be the drone and the other end would be the anchor. The metal in between these 2 points would be the tether, excuse me. And so that drone can move completely spherically around the anchor, so long as, again, there's no surface to interfere. So as long as that drone's connected through the tether, it'll know where it's going to be at in that volume of the sphere. So let's move on to the project description and how we ended up simulating this. We began by simulating the drone connected to the object or the P3DX robot. We next had to create a tether that would react like I said, either a rope or a chain. And this means it has varying length depending on the force between the two robots. Lastly, we were to program the wheeled robot to respond to the forces in that tether. So here's our code flowchart. It looks very simple, but again, that it got a little bit complicated. The drone would be flying. The force sensor would tell the robot either, hey, it needs to move to regain that tautness, or hey, it's perfectly taut, keep the drone levitating where it's at. And to go into the design process, I'll hand it off to Damian Loya to discuss what we did.
Hi, everyone. My name's Damian. We're going to be discussing how we ended up approaching this part of the project. Creating the tether proved to be one of the most complicated deals about the project, and it did take some time as there are no resources or there's hardly any projects that would try to simulate this. So doing the experiment consisted of creating a tether that would interact with the drone and would respectively, according to the laws of physics, it would move and interact with objects such as the floor or the robot. Since Copellia software has all these capabilities, I mean, this is the perfect software to try to do something like this. We started by creating the tether in our first attempt by using subcategories between objects. As we started, we have a drone and a robot. We first started with two robots, making one a child of the other, and hitting them with a cuboid to see if they would both interact. After we were able to get a good result, we placed the drone with the robot, and placed it in free flight to see what the response would end up being. During the flight, the drone is allowed to fly while bounded to the robot, and the drone, however, did react in an erratic way and was unable to follow its path target. In order to measure the force, we also needed a visible dynamic tether, and this does force us to move on to the next idea. So when thinking about making a tether, such as a string or a chain, we decided to mimic a chain that would interact with the floor of the environment, and we created a chain of spherical joints. By thinking that each spherical joint would be allowed to move freely about all three axes, we attached each end to the drone and the robot. This experiment, however, did not show flexibility and would not interact with the joint assigned to the quadcopter. It would actually separate and the robot would take off by itself. By creating a set of long cuboids linked with spherical joints, we're able to achieve similar results to what we wanted with the tether. The thing is the joints were the cuboids were too long, and it would destabilize the drone, causing it to crash and make us not be able to regain control. So after analyzing the long cuboid link and the behavior of such, we ended up creating a tether consisting of the Pioneer robot, 11 spherical joints, each connected to 10 short cuboids, and one force sensor, each child of one another. So here we can see the short cuboids attached to its corresponding spherical joints, terminating on a spherical joint at each of the robots. The cuboids themselves were dynamically enabled and reacted to the laws of physics as we expected them to. The only issue presented within the design was the dynamic properties of the cuboids were allowed to revolute around their axes due to the spherical joints. This in turn, it caused the joints to move, or the cuboids to move, and it would sometimes destabilize the drone if there was too much force being placed on there. And for the MATLAB code, was that not there? Oh, the picture didn't show up. So the MATLAB code consisted of three main functions: the retrieval of the objects, the object handles, the retrieval of the force sensor, and get joint force sensor, which we're trying to pull the joint, the force sensor on the joints themselves, as the actual force sensor was not retrieving any information. And I mean, this in turn, once we actually found the force that was being applied or the actual vector, we would or try to program the actual robot to move and relieve the tether of some of the pressure, allowing the drone to fly. So these were some of the functions we were trying to use. Not sure why the code wasn't there. Can you go to the next slide, Ryan? In turn, for some of these, MATLAB was returning some of the errors and we weren't able to use most of them. So up to this point, we weren't able to complete the project, but that was kind of the outline. So the while loop was going to constantly be retrieving the force sensor and then having the robot compensate the tension on the tether.
Sorry, so our video is actually too long, so we have to put it separately. But here you go.
Hello and welcome to our ME487 Mechatronics project, Quadcopter Tether. One of the main challenges of using unmanned aircraft is localization or self-positioning of such robots. By utilizing a tether, the quadcopter could more accurately determine its position.
To the video directly, to the simulation video.
The challenge was to create a lifelike tether.
Actually, I'm running. Can you pause it, Ryan?
Tether would react with physics as in the real world.
So the video is actually a simulation video, but I'm running through the actual process. So you'll get the simulation as soon as I, like I was explaining, as the video was going to be uploaded. And I wasn't sure if the video, like that way the video can be seen itself, and then you can see the drone and the tether moving.
Allowing the drone to move within boundaries and place a force on the Pioneer robot. By making the drone a child object of the Pioneer robot, we allow a flight bounded to the robot. This, however, causes erratic behavior due to the physics of the program and the lack of boundaries caused by actual physical objects. The program does not know how to behave.
Set of links made from spherical joints was made with the idea of flexibility within all three axes. The drone, however, did not respond to the tethered joint, causing erratic behavior. A tether created from cuboid links allowed for expected behavior. However, the links were too big, causing instability within the system and making it crash. By making the links shorter, the drone responded as expected and was allowed to follow the target, creating a force between the two objects as the drone moved further away. The links were made of short cuboids linked with spherical joints, causing a small issue as the cuboids would react to the physics of the Copellia software. This gave us the result we needed to attempt and create means for measuring force on the tether and later actuate the Pioneer robot to relieve some of the tension. Both the robot and the drone, as well as the tether, reacted as expected and followed the rules of physics. By reducing the weight of the links in the tether, we were able to achieve stability between the drone and the tether. This in change reduced the amount of crashes and instability or erratic behavior within the two objects. Out of all the components, the force sensor proved to be the most lacking in information. The sensor could only be placed between two objects, making us create a longer joint, causing some instability within the system. Having placed the sensor in the lack of references, we were unable to use it as MATLAB was requiring more information and more parameters as inputs. We then later moved to a force on a spherical joint. By retrieving the quadcopter object, the force sensor object, and the spherical joint object attached to the robot, our plan was to utilize data coming from both the spherical joint and the force sensor to actuate the robot and relieve some of the pressure on the tether. Due to difficulties in time, we were unable to finish the project and accomplish the end result. Thank you.
So going back to our presentation. So for our, if it would go, okay. So for our lessons learned, we have the remote API functions. This was something new that neither of us have really been introduced to, and we can totally see like how it's super useful. Utilizing MATLAB software to control a completely different program was super interesting to use. Granted, it was difficult at times, but it still made things a little bit more challenging. Another thing that we learned throughout this process was that there's a lot more than we think that goes into making a drone flight capable. You know, you see the commercially available drones that you can go buy at Target or something, and you think not a lot goes into making it fly. When in reality, there's a lot of math that goes into, you know, moving it up, down, left, right, or even just making it levitate can be difficult at times. So we will absolutely be keeping that in mind for future use. And lastly, something that we thought was absolutely key was software forums, specifically the Copellia simulator forums. While the quantity was scarce, the quality of the posts that we found were super awesome. A lot of the people, you know, granted, you know, there wasn't a lot of people who found it, excuse my wording there, who had the same difficulties as us, but you know, if at least one person did and somebody responded to that, that got us back on track and we were able to move forward with our project. So in conclusion, the Copellia advantages, there's definitely some. There's accurate modeling and the accurate simulations with the real-time physics engines that they have. You can choose, I think there's about 5 different physics engines that you can run during your simulations. You just have to find which one suits your simulation best. That proved to be key as well in making our drone fly and not sending our tether going absolutely bonkers. Another really cool advantage of Copellia is the advanced functioning robots. I mean, there's some crazy robots in the Copellia that are super easy to add into your scene, and they all come with functioning script that you can go in and edit yourself to make it do whatever you need it to do. And lastly, like I previously mentioned, there's just not enough references for some of the things that we were trying to implement into our code or our simulation. the quadcopter references are somewhat minimal, as well as the force sensor was super hard to find information on, which for future would be, or for anybody who's doing this for the future, that's just one thing that I would be keeping in mind. So is there any questions for us?